Hello ladies and gentlemen, before we start real quick, in the description you can find a link to my VidMe account, just in case YouTube goes topsy-turvy, or... not that I expected to, but better safe than sorry. Oh, also, there's no ads there. Maybe something you'll enjoy. Cheers! I've been wanting to get something off my chest for a very long time. The only person who knows the whole story is my wife, and she didn't find out until we were already engaged. I didn't have anyone to talk to about this, because anyone who knows will think ill of me. It's been 15 years since these events took place, so I finally feel safe enough to talk about them anonymously. I had a really hard time in high school. Traumatic events in my childhood, combining with hormonal changes, didn't make me the most easygoing guy. I'd consider myself handsome now, but at the time I was 5'4", paler than fresh linen and bone thin. My hobbies were all indoors and solitary in nature, and I found it hard to make friends. I was the lone wolf everyone warns you about. The only friend I had in the world was my creative writing teacher, Mr. Artis. He wasn't all the guy, but I think he saw some of himself in me. He let me hide out in his office to avoid the jocks who taunted me daily. We would talk about writing and what we were reading, but most of the time we just talked about life. He had talked me down a few times. I was massively depressed, suicidal even. I never went through with my plans because he was always there for me. He talked me through things that I thought no one else would understand. He understood the anger like no one else did. I hated the boys who would bully me. I hated the girls who would giggle at me as I walked by. I hated the teachers who turned a blind eye, or the ones, like the gym teacher, who almost encouraged it. I think if it weren't for Mr. Artis, I wouldn't be here to tell my story. If I hadn't had him to talk to confide in, the self-loathing and anger and disgust would have bubbled over a lot sooner than it did. I'm thankful for that. In my junior year of high school, Mr. Artis got sick. They didn't tell us what he had, but he missed almost a month of classes. Not having anyone to talk to took a toll on me. I wasn't allowed in his office alone, so I lost my hiding spot. Being around more often meant that I was an easier target. The assholes who tormented me day in, day out stepped up their game. Almost every day was torment. The bullying escalated from just taunting me to physically hurting me. I was punched square in the nose one day. Another time, they slammed my hands in my locker door and locked it shut. On top of everything going on at school, my mum and dad had been fighting for a while. The week of the event, my mum left. Neither of my parents understood me, but Mum tried. Leaving me alone with my father is something that I still haven't forgiven her for, 15 years later. I know that what I did was stupid. I know that it was the most drastic solution to something that would change over time. I didn't see it that way, though. My dad kept a gun in the attached garage. It was loaded and tucked away for emergency situations, like going to the shooting range with his buddies. On Monday, I took the gun to my room. Dad didn't notice it was missing, because the drawer where it's kept is mostly empty. I posed with it in the mirror, practicing my icy stare. I knew right away what I wanted to do, although the thought of just using it to blow my own brains out crossed my mind a few times. I didn't want to go out like that, though. I wanted to leave a lasting impression. I counted the bullets in the gun 17 times. There were only 3. I didn't know where to find more ammo, so I knew that I would have to make every shot count. One bullet was for John Carter, The asshole who filled my locker with piss-filled balloons. The second bullet was for Mike Wallace, who catfished me for weeks pretending to be a girl in our class, and then stood me up when I asked her out. The final bullet was for myself. I didn't want to go to jail, and I sure as hell didn't want to keep living. On Friday morning, I tucked the gun into the waistband of my jeans, wearing a big hoodie to cover the bulge. Everything felt different. Entering the school, like I was dreaming. The school itself almost looked like a set on a TV show, all conversation blooming like background murmurs, I suppose. Looking back, that I had detached myself emotionally from the situation. I was calm and collected as I walked the halls, looking for my victims. It was early and classes hadn't started yet, but I figured John Carter would be in the gym shooting hoops. I made my way down the corridor that led to the athletics wing with determination. "Harold!" I heard a familiar voice and stopped. I turned to see Mr. Artist standing at his office door. "Come in, I need to speak with you." "Hey, it's good to see you." I awkwardly smiled back at him. "Listen, I'm kind of busy right now. Can this wait?" I was a man on a mission. I didn't want to lose momentum. "No, it can not. Come in." His tone was kind, but the sternness was undeniable. He held open the door to his office and entered behind me. I asked him why he had wanted to see me, but he simply stated that he wanted to talk. He asked me how things had been while he was away, but I didn't want to talk. The answers I gave him were short, cold, nothing like my usual self. I could tell that he knew something was up, but he didn't want to push me. As I leaned back in the chair, wishing he would just leave me the fuck alone, my sweatshirt lifted slightly, the bulge becoming more evident. "Harold," Mr. Artist whispered, "what on earth is that for?" My cheeks turned bright red with embarrassment at being caught, and my heart started to pound in my ears. I knew it was over then. Mr. Artist was cool, but he was still a teacher. I assumed that the police and my parents would be called, that I would be kicked out of school and possibly sent to prison. I tried to speak, but I couldn't. Words got caught in the back of my throat, my eyes welling up with tears, and I just broke. The weight of the world which I had been carrying finally broke my back, and all I could do was sob. Mr. Artist didn't say a word. Just waited for me to compose myself. When I finally did, I told him about everything that had been going on. I'd never cried in front of him before, and the emotion that flowed out of me was surprisingly relieving. When the tears stopped and I had run out of things to say, Mr. Artist held his hand out for the gun. "Are you going to have me arrested?" I asked. "No, what good would that do?" he asked. I couldn't stop apologizing, but Mr. Artist's eyes were kind as he told me that everything was going to be okay. He told me that he understood what I wanted to do, but that it was the wrong solution. Comforted by his presence and finally being able to get everything off my chest, I almost agreed with him. I gave Mr. Artist the gun, which he said that he would dispose of. I knew my dad would be livid that it went missing, but that was a problem for another day. I thanked Mr. Artist for everything and went to class. I was late to Spanish, but I told the teacher that I was in the nurse's office. Senora Miller didn't question it. My eyes were still red and my nose was runny. The rest of the class was uneventful. But just as the bell was supposed to ring, the principal came over the speaker with an announcement. "May I please have everyone's attention? Last night, at 8:06 p.m., our school lost a beloved member of our faculty. Mr. Gideon Artist found peace last night, after a lifetime of struggling with a hereditary disorder. There will be a service on Tuesday for anyone who would like to attend, and all counselors will be available all week for any student or faculty member who would like grievance assistance. We will now have 5 minutes of silence for Mr. Artis. There were gasps around the classroom as the announcement played, but Senora Miller quieted us down. We bowed our heads out of respect and sat in silence. I often ponder what happened that day. I wonder if Mr. Artis was a ghost, but it seemed so real. My mental state that day was far from sane, and it's possible that I hallucinated the whole thing, my subconscious finding a way to stop me from making a terrible mistake. The biggest mystery of all is that of the gun. I know I took it from my dad's drawer. I remember counting the bullets over and over again. I remember the way it felt, heavy in my waistband, and I know that I handed it to Mr. Artis. The next weekend, my dad went to the shooting range, and I was ready for hell when he couldn't find it. Except that he did find it. It was right there, in the drawer, still loaded with 3 bullets. I can't explain the events that took place, but I guess a part of me wonders if Mr. Artis just wanted to look out for me one more time.